Hello, and welcome to the Straight to the Source podcast. I'm Tanya Barr.
And I'm Lucy Allen, and we're looking forward to taking you straight to the source of the people driving our food and hospitality industry forward.
Today we're joined by Monty Koludrovic. After an incredible chapter in the US, Monty's returned home to Australia. Now settling into Melbourne with his family and stepping into a new phase of his career with Victor Churchill. From leading iconic kitchens to working closer to the source, this is a conversation about what comes next. Have a listen. Today's episode is proudly brought to you by our friends at Unox Australia, industry leaders in cutting-edge kitchen technology and innovation. All right, well, Monty, welcome, and welcome back to Australia.
Thank you. It feels so good to be back.
Well, gosh, how long were you away for?
So we were gone for almost 6 years.
Right.
We touched down in Los Angeles the same hour that the US recognized COVID-19 patient 1.
Yeah. Okay, that's bad luck, huh?
Well, I've actually considered it a blessing. Had we not made it, we would have had a frantic freak out about, are we doing the right thing? What are we doing? Should we pull out? And then had we not gone, I don't know whether we would have moved overseas again. And so,
is that right?
We made it. Well, it's daunting moving overseas with your kids and the idea of making the right decisions for everyone. And then you throw an international medical uncertainty like what that was into the mix. Yeah, I don't know. And we don't have to worry about it because we did make it and then we got trapped there.
But
the
they
rest
say
is history, as they say.
Yeah, well, they say life is in chapters, and you've closed a big one on LA for now anyway, and now you're back in Australia. So how are you feeling? Because how long have you been back?
We got back just before Christmas and then we went to beautiful Lord Howe Island to spend Christmas with Jackie's extended family, which is always nice. And the kids at the age they're 12 and 13. They're at the zone where they're riding around on bikes and getting ice blocks and Tomo burgers and checking out beaches. And it's like the sweet spot to be from an island like that. And then I've been in Melbourne properly since January 5th.
Can we talk about your move to LA? It was 2020?
It was January of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, January of 2020.
What surprised you the most and you with your children and Jackie is an extraordinary pastry chef and you've often worked together. So can you kind of paint us a picture of what that was like? And yes, amongst COVID and having to navigate all of that in the States.
I guess we moved there with 9 suitcases, 4 backpacks, 2 skateboards and a couple of helmets, no furniture. We didn't ship any boxes of stuff. It was like starting from that base. And it was exciting but challenging. And we had, we were welcomed and well supported by the guys at Botanical Group. And, it was even with the backdrop of what was unfolding with COVID, we arrived with so much excitement and, it's an exciting city anyway, but I think with the big move and with the chance to open a new project in a city like Hollywood, the excitement was all there and we met great people early on. Kids slotted into school and then we had like 6 or 8 weeks of playing happy families, getting to know the community. And then lockdown happened. And then we had a few months and we opened our first venue there called Strings of Life, a cafe in West Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. So you were the culinary director for Botanical, is that right? Was that the role that you took on when you moved over? And did Jackie work for Botanical as well, or?
She did. And so we moved there to open a new brand for Botanical called Grandmaster Recorders.
Mm-hmm.
And, one thing COVID did was make it really hard finished building a restaurant. And so at that time, there were still big pits in the ground and a lot of the materials hadn't been purchased. So we were pretty clear early on that there was going to be delays. So we were focused on opening that cafe and pivoting their existing business, EPLP, and traversing all the different ranges of restrictions that came in. But in the early months, the kids were schooling from home. And, there wasn't a single desk in Greater Los Angeles to purchase because everyone had to, 7 million kids in LA County school system, and all of them had to pivot to a homeschooling. So we ended up with our kids, bit War of the Roses style, where we got a massive dining table. It was $200 on Facebook from a girl who was moving back home to Idaho. I think it was $200, and we just had a kid at either end. And Jackie was producing all the sweet treats for the cafe in the kitchen there.
Right.
So, it was interesting, but like I said, we had lots of cool people around us, Aussies plus other Los Angeles implants and a few locals, and it was exciting. There wasn't any. Our local community was good. It was hard to kind of really feel what the city was like from a hospitality and culinary point of view. Lots of stories of people banding together and helping each other, and it wasn't that you didn't have access to the incredible people in the industry, but you didn't have access to the hospitality and the service and the feeling of going out. So I kind of feel like our understanding of that city as a food and dining city was kind of stunted.
Well, it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary circumstances define your rhythm as a family, and to be in American kitchens. It's a very unique situation you found yourself in.
Yeah, and to that point, I actually feel like it was an advantage for me because I was no different to a native Angelino chef. Like, none of us had been in this kitchen before. None of us had to deal with these pressures on the market. None of us had to deal with the challenges of getting produce, or, it kind of evened the playing field where none of us had done the thing. Whereas same time year before, I would have been the new kid and everyone else had done it. And so it kind of leveled things for me in that regard. I was just going to say, when life came back, it came back with aplomb, and everyone was so ready. And then, I feel privileged to have spent time in that industry, in that city during that moment where it was like people clicking their heels and everyone just like waking from a slumber. It was super exciting. So,
you lived there for 6 years, and was there a moment when LA just felt like home?
I often think about, when I'm away, I've done almost 5-year stint in London when I was younger, 20, no family, and now this 6-year stint. And then both of them, I never really missed Australia and the feeling of home. I missed people for sure. I missed certain foods, drinks, certain moments, but I never felt that draw of like, I need to get back home. And we kind of embarked on Los Angeles, and we were kind of ready. It's not that we were done with Sydney, but we felt like getting out of Sydney was a good next move. Like, it just felt right. And whereas coming back here, the opportunity felt so right to come back, but we kind of weren't done with LA. We kind of left in a really different energy, and the people and the community that we'd built there were kind of holding on to us. It felt sticky. We had to prize ourselves out. So it definitely felt like home. And then we come back to Australia though, and all the little things that you forget that you notice again.
So some things are very familiar, and are some things like feeling completely new? Has much changed?
Yeah, well, a lot has changed. It's really hard for me to convert my Apple account back to being Australian now that my phone is so embedded in all these contracts and subscriptions. That's definitely new.
Yeah.
It's more the little things that build up
Like
that
what?
I
Like what?
notice the change.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess just cafe life and there being such quality cafes and small businesses scattered around. You know, one thing that hasn't changed that I forgot how good it was is just like walking around and your auto departure of the house isn't to hop in the car. It's like, oh, that's a nice walk. And
Yes.
we knew that we'd miss that in LA, but we didn't know how much until we're back here and we're walking around.
Mm-hmm.
I've found it hard to untrain the Americanization of some words. And my son Blinky, he's really swift to pick me up on it. So if I say trash, he'll kick me in the shins. If I
Say.
say something like sweater, then I get a look like that. What are you doing? It's a jumper.
So,
He's
but children are so impressionable. And my sister-in-law is the principal of Santa Ana High, and my teenage nephews live in Santa Ana, and they've just been out to Australia for a couple of weeks, but they've even gone back saying a few Aussie words. So I wonder if your children living there for 6 years, their mates and that sort of thing, were they saying sweater at all, or are they stuck to their Aussie lingo?
No, I think we were all using the terminology, and I think school's a big one, like the school environment and them wanting to not accentuate their foreignness.
Well, when you went over, I mean, you've been such an advocate for Australian producers, and I know Olsen Salt and Alto and Pepe, and were there ingredients you took with you that were non-negotiable for the venues over there, or did you just adapt?
Well, it was a combo. After, it wasn't too long into it, and people that sold Australian things came looking, and a guy called Thomas West, who's with Southern Rock Lobster, now based in South Australia, but was in Los Angeles at the time with his import company. He was super helpful in bringing Olsen's and Alto, so I didn't have to pivot on my salt and olive oil of choice. Nick Gorman from Yarra Valley was getting product in through that guy, and then Pepe's story is kind of different. That even using Pepe over there for the most part means you're using American butter or butter. That's one of my practice words to try and get my R's. Cheeseburger, butter.
You're doing well, Monty.
It was a blend of representing Australian products and producers and being open to new farms and new products. Part of the joy of going to a new place like that, and SoCal is such a food bowl. It's such an incredible place to grow things. I was also open. One thing that I really found it hard to get pushed away from is Australian meat. I pretty much exclusively worked with Australian lamb and beef.
Didn't Sam come over and visit you?
We had Sam, had Matt O'Connor, had the guys. We actually had a lot come through. I feel like the years that I was there was big for some like branded Australian meat exporters. I did a lot of work with West Home Wagyu over there. They were great supporters. It was a big one, and it's something that you can find certain items all over the world which will impress in all categories, but from the depth and width of the Australian meat industry, I haven't found anywhere that compares on that scale.
Mm-hmm. And did you find that American diners were keen? Did they ever question it and go, why aren't we having American lamb or American beef? And what's the point of difference? Did they ever push you and ask you those questions?
The type of venues that we had and that I was running, so botanical and then into living room, luckily our clientele were pretty learned and open. There's a general perception that Australia represents quality and healthy and sunny, and it's like somewhere that everyone wants to go, but the flight's too long. And there's generally an openness and an eagerness to engage in Australian products, which makes it easier. Outside of LA, there's more parochial support for American meat, especially. Like, people wouldn't even look at a different meat,
Mm-hmm.
You kind of
Mm-hmm.
get that energy, but for the most part, I didn't have to deal with it. People were super excited, and we were able to showcase some of the best stuff coming out of Australia, and so people kind of just were floored by how good it was. I think I had such good access to meat, and I don't know if it necessarily speaks Australiana to me in the same way, but definitely I was doing these Wagyu skewers mainly at some events I did with the Consul General, but also we did some Christmas in July parties, and I was doing Wagyu glazed with a Vegemite fish sauce caramel. And if you're going to glaze some high-end Wagyu with Vegemite, it doesn't really get more Australian than that.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So what are some of your highlights, some of the events you catered to and you catered for during your time in LA, that is?
Yeah. Had so many fun events that, hosting some really incredible dinners up at West Home House was amazing. At Grandmaster Recorders, we hosted the LA Times for their 101 best restaurants and hosted a bunch of incredible local chefs. Did some incredible parties at Living Room, which I'm bound to not talk about, but that was an incredible experience. We cooked out at Coachella. That was super cool. We took over Malibu Pier with Joe Barrett and Josh Nyland for an incredible Australia event. We did 300-person lunches followed by 1,500-person parties on Santa Monica Pier with the Aussie Christmas crew. So many cool events. And then, when I think about all of those things and I smile thinking about them, just so many cool people out there flying the flag for this country. And we know they're out there when we're in Australia, but seeing everyone and coming together and just enjoying representing it was a real treat to be amongst everyone.
Oh, and the community, I mean, your network has just grown, and I'm sure you'll be welcoming many Americans into Australia. They'll be coming to see what you're up to.
I think so. And we all know it's easy to go and visit somewhere if you've got someone on the ground. So
yeah,
I'm welcoming them with open arms.
Well, is there an ingredient in Australia that, you respect more than ever now? Is there anything that jumps out? Is it Vegemite?
No, I had my Vegemite sauce over there. What have I really like? I've come back and mango is probably one that I don't want to get into a mango war, but Australia has the best mangoes, and I would eat mangoes from other parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But coming back here and having access, I think we were kind of like a 3 or 4 mango a day family for the first month of being back, and we took a suitcase of mangoes to Lord Howe Island for Christmas.
Well, you came back at the
mangoes
perfect time.
in LA. Mangoes in LA were $13 for a good Kensington, like a big Kensington would be 13 USD.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, was there a US snack that you've, that you can share with us that you actually are happy to share that you actually enjoy? Is there
Yeah. What did we, you know, I guess every meal category could be covered off by saying sushi and tacos. I lived in the Valley in LA, which is known for having the highest concentration of sushi restaurants anywhere, and that's the thing that the kids say that they really miss, and that would be after school snack, lunch, dinner, or otherwise. I think, but growing up, I feel like we all kind of were in awe of American snacks and junk food. And I think it was probably through cultural osmosis, through film and television, that we were kind of drawn to it. And I remember people would come back from the States and they'd be like, "Whoa, I got Butterfingers." And then I went there and I'm like, Australian snack game is so strong. Like the chip game is better. The chocolate game is like, I'm going to say it's better. The lollies are better. I was like, it reaffirmed for me that Australia's snack game is solid.
It's funny. When I first moved here, I've got to confess, I had a suitcase full of products, right? And it was either Mexican ingredients, Chipotle chilies in the can, corn husks. Actually, I got those confiscated, but quite a few ingredients. And I would fill up even Annie's macaroni and cheese. I hate to admit it. I would put the cheese powder on my popcorn, right? So I'd have a suitcase full. Now, when I come back, I bring hardly anything. Like I do bring chili powder. I find the chili powder in the States has a different flavor profile that I just can't find here.
Yeah, the chilies in general.
Yeah.
You're right, is next level.
Yeah. But we've come a long way. We've come a long way here.
Yeah. And I learned a bunch about not just Mexican, but Guatemalan and El Salvadoran cooking. And one chef in particular that was working with us at Living Room, he was nixtamalizing his own blue corn from Oregon, and we had the most incredible masa to work with and make tortillas for the restaurant. And at any chance, he's ready to show us something incredible. Like that was something that that I'll always remember. And if I was going to miss something, it would be having access to those people.
Well, hey, should we just move on to your next chapter? It's in the papers. Yeah. The news is out. Let's talk about Victor Churchill, shall we? How did that come about?
Well, I've known Anthony and Beck for many years, and our relationship evolved. And Anthony's such a genuine character that he would be where I would go as to get counsel and talk through ideas, or the plan to go to America. Part of the deliberation was a lunch with Anthony down at Cirrus and talking through pros and cons. And so we have had a strong relationship for a long time, and I value everything that they stand for as a family and a business. I think they're really stand-up people. It's more that there was never a business that suited or needed me in it as to why we hadn't worked together. And I think, it was a similar thing when I was talking to West Home Wagyu in LA. It was the same thing. I was driving home. I'm like, I'll call Anthony, see what intel he has that I maybe don't know about this company. Is it someone that I should be working with? What should I look out for? That type of thing. And it was in that convo that he kind of hinted that Victor Churchill was, Victor Churchill Armadale at that point was just kicking goals. And I think he was starting to think about what was possible with the brand.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a comment along the lines that I was one of the few chefs that he could imagine growing that brand with. And that kind of planted a seed where there wasn't anything right now, but it gave space to the imagining of like, what would it be like for us to work together and what type of project? And then there were a few opportunities that come up that look like they might be the one that brings us home. And they didn't, and they maybe will come to fruition later, but they didn't at that point. And then this one came along and it is coming to fruition, and it did bring us back.
What is the vision with Victor Churchill? I know there's talk about the Crown. There's, you've now relocated to Melbourne. You're not in Sydney. What's up with that?
Yeah, down in Mexico. I'm super pumped to be down here, to be honest. Like, I love Sydney and I love all my people up there. And, I'm thankful that my job's going to have me spending time up in Sydney on occasion. But I'm excited to be in a place that I haven't fully tapped yet. And there's a whole, there's a whole community of incredible hospitality folk, farmers and producers, and a wine industry that I get to really immerse myself in. And because I love doing it and I love going through that journey stage, that discovery stage, it's hard to replicate in a place that, like, there's always things to learn and discover, but not en masse in the way that you go through when you move somewhere. And so we get to do that all over again. And I like that we get to learn about, like, Melbourne and Sydney aren't that different in a lot of ways, but the people in each, they accentuate the differences and they're proud of how they're different. I'm excited to hang out with the Melburnian crew and call potato scallops cakes, and it's all good stuff. But I guess the vision is, well, anyone that knows Anthony knows that he's not shy on making bold statements.
Yeah, and, absolutely.
At its core, the vision is the best fucking steakhouse in the world.
Love it. Yeah.
That's the.
There you go. You don't get more straightforward than that.
Yeah. I guess it's just like the Victor Churchill brand and what the guys have built up until now. It's kind of the trajectory, like it's Anthony doesn't just peddle meat. He's out there with incredible primary producers helping meat and meat brands fulfill their potentials. And his vision of procuring and showcasing the best is there for everyone to see. And if something is impractical, it doesn't mean that he's not going to do it.
I heard someone say the other day that Victor Churchill brings the legacy and Monty brings the edge. And I just thought that is absolutely rock star.
Yeah, that is. I like that.
Yeah, that could, and it's so true. I mean, Anthony and, Fix Meats and Victor Churchill, I mean, they've been backing primary producers and telling that story and educating chefs from the very beginning. So what a legacy, that they do have. And what's the time frame for the Crown, for this steakhouse? What are we talking?
We're talking first half of 2027 open.
Okay.
We're deep in design stages at this moment. There's the location that we're going in is not a previous restaurant, so we're kind of having to reimagine a space, and it affords us luxuries like not having to inherit certain services, and it makes life challenging in certain circumstances. But they've assembled a crack team of pros that really setting their sights on making that part of Melbourne absolutely smashing and stunning. And I've only just really started working with them, but couldn't be more excited about continuing that design process. And it's all about it's like chapters of life, and in restaurants and building restaurants, you've got little chapters, and you're always like, you're eagerly anticipating the next chapter, like, oh, I can't wait until we start actively hunting certain positions, and can't wait until I can start doing tastings. And you want them, and then it's upon you, and you're like, oh, damn, now we're going to find these people, or now we're going to have to actually, it's exciting and daunting and challenging, but it seems now what I do.
Well, what do you think chefs are missing in butchery, or what do you think? Is there something in particular that comes to mind that chefs don't understand about butchery today? And especially young chefs coming through, do you see there's a little bit of a disconnect there?
Yeah, and I guess I don't necessarily think that's a new thing. I think it's something that's like, it was easy to grow up as a chef in Australia when I was starting out and dodge any significant butchery work. And in a degree, like to a degree, it's a bit similar to bread. Like you can make a focaccia or make a bread, or do a one-off this or that, or mess with it, and be so far from being a baker.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people get by and can remove flesh from bone, but I guess managing the carcass and how you break it so as for it to make sense and be sustainable for you, and to not waste anything or miss out on any highlighted products, and to continue offering the most varied experiences out of an animal. I think that's where the craft really comes in, and that's kind of what sets Victor Churchill apart. It's how they've got particular cuts of particular meat that no one else has got access to. And having the dine-in restaurant at Armidale has afforded even greater ability to showcase that.
Absolutely.
And I'm no different. Just in north at Bacchus, we used to get 3 organic Wagyu cows a month.
Yeah.
And I learned a bunch. It was hard, and everyone looks back at that time and feels really like lucky to have gone through that. But I'm definitely not master butcher, and now I get to work with a couple. It's super cool, and I'm pumped about it.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. I mean, when you talk about Bacchus, that's funny. I think that's where we met, at one of the producers' lunches.
Yeah.
All those years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So now, will Jackie be involved in this project with Victor Churchill, or is she doing her own thing, or getting the kids settled? What's happening there?
She's getting the kids settled. Like, I guess we're definitely going to be working together. We need to get her dessert menu back into the hands of Australian diners. And there'll probably be a couple of projects pre-opening that she'll get amongst, and a few people have already reached out about doing a few bits and pieces. So there's not a rush, but you'll definitely be seeing her soon.
Oh, I tell you what, we've missed her. We've missed those sweet treats, and she's extraordinary. She's an extraordinary talent, and it's just so wonderful having you both back, and your beautiful boys. And it's nice that you did have such a positive experience in LA, and I'm sure LA is missing you.
Yeah, I got a call. It was Grammy weekend. I got a call. It was 2 a.m. in LA, and the whole gang was around the bar, and it was a good shout out. But I think Jackie's time in LA, I think she's better than ever. She really it's like she was like just cracking menus over there. It's really exciting to see her get back into it here.
Well, can you please let her know? We'd love to have her on the podcast. And Lucy and I would absolutely love it. Well, in closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I guess, connecting with my team back in LA the other night, it's front of mind that they really need to get the immigration enforcement people off the streets in America. It really affects our type of businesses, and it's just like it's the least fair treatment of some of the best people in the world, and it'd be remiss that we not continue to talk about it. It's something that Australia deals with in different ways, but not with this like intensity. It's like nothing I've seen, and it's people that everyone knows over there under threat. So I guess taking a moment to acknowledge that. And I guess I feel super lucky to be here in such a beautiful country. I've always flown the flag and told everyone how amazing Australia is, and it doesn't diminish other places being good, but it's actually the best. And I look forward to this next chapter and getting stuck in.
In terms of our listeners, we have a lot of chefs and a lot of primary producers that listen to this podcast, and it's growing, and that's really exciting. So if they are listening and they want to reach out to you and perhaps talk to you about joining your team, or if they have some ingredients they'd like to share, what are your thoughts around that, and what's the best way they can get in contact?
Oh, my thoughts around that is bring it on. I already had some people reach out and some people reconnect, and I'm all about it. Like right now, over the next few months, there's obviously a bunch of design moments happening for the project. But part of what I need to do is get out there and the menu can be words on paper, and then you go out to a farm or to see someone producing something amazing, and words get moved off paper and new words come in, and it's a beautiful process. So hit me up on Instagram. That's probably the best way. And there's from a careers point of view, lots of opportunity coming for all manner of skilled hospitality folks, young, old, and otherwise. And again, we've already had some interest, but keep it coming. It's going to be a special project for producers, farmers, and family members. So come and get on board.
Awesome. Wonderful. Okay. Well, we will also put all of that in the show notes, just so you know, and we will put that through all of our channels as well. So exciting times, Monty. Thank you so much for coming on. And look forward to catching up with you in Melbourne.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and congrats on continuing to fly the flag and grow your brand. It's super exciting to see you on the up and up.
Oh, thank you, Monty. You've been there from the very beginning with Lucy and I, and we really appreciate it too. And so lots of love to you and so much respect. And welcome home.
Thank you so much for listening in. We really hope you enjoyed the conversation.
We would be keen to hear from you if you have a story to share or a topic we should bring into our conversations. And a special thank you to Unox Australia for their support in this series, where leadership meets the future of food.